Hello everyone, back again with another video, and today we're going to learn the basics of Linux. So one who feel like Linux will be a tough operating system, one who gets into the ethical hacking career, this will be the right option, this will be the right video to learn the basics at all. We'll start with the basic history where the Linux and Unix distribution started and the list of distributions and which will be the good one for you, and then we'll see a list of commands that we need to learn to go on with basic Linux navigations. For people who wants to learn ethical hacking, who wants to get into the cybersecurity domain, the first question they feel like they are not feeling comfortable with Linux. So no need to worry about that. Linux is a very friendly environment. I can assure you that 7 days of your practice in your Linux environment will definitely make you very comfortable with the Linux environment, especially with the command line interface. Okay, so what we're going to learn today, we'll start with the introduction of Linux, where it all started, and then we'll proceed. So everything with the modern day operating systems now we are using started around 1969 when C and Unix operating systems developed by AT&T Bell Laboratories. Then many people have invented Unix combined with GNU projects. GNU projects is nothing but a software systems combined to design lots of command line tools that we are using nowadays. Okay, and that's how the system, the Linux systems developed, and lots of resources are being shared with Unix and Linux systems. We will see that when we get into the directories and we get into the file systems and the hierarchies. And before that, let me give a quick thing that how many percentages of people are using the Linux environments, Linux computers. Now more than 97% of world supercomputers are running on Linux, and more than 80% of smartphones and 70% of web servers and IoT devices are running in Linux. And it is the most commonly used operating systems in the world, not the Windows. People think like most of the people are using Windows, but the things that keeps you connected are running with the Linux operating systems. And next we have the distribution stuffs. So the distribution distribution is nothing but the collection of softwares and top of Linux kernel. Okay, so it admit and it aims to provide common looks and security and ease of software management that a user can use in an operating system. Okay, so that's where we have distributions. And what are the distributions that we have? We have different distributions that are available to go on. Okay, so we'll start with the distributions called Red Hat Linux. Okay, so we have Red Hat Linux. It's a well-known one for their support and their products for free. They give support for up to 7 years once the latest release has been released. Okay, but Fedora is also a distribution that comes with Red Hat, but they don't give any support for Fedora distributions. And we have Ubuntu, where we need to use the graphical Linux desktop for one who wants to use the Linux operating system very conveniently, like a Windows who needs a graphical interface, UI interface. Then Ubuntu will be the right option for them with Linux Essence in it. Okay, and when Ubuntu has been launched, lots of people were shifted from Microsoft Windows to Ubuntu machines, and it's friendly for home users. And we have Debian distributions. What is Debian? It is mostly the stable Linux distributions we have. It is the basics of every release of Ubuntu. Okay, so everything comes from Debian. Kali Linux we have Ubuntu. So lots of distributions are related with this Debian distributions only, and it comes in 3 versions where we can call it as stable, and testing, and unstable versions. So these are the distributions that we have, and there are other hundreds of Linux distributions are available, and we can call it as like CentOS is there, and Oracle Enterprise Linux, and which is based on Red Hat Linux. Okay, and we have Linux Mint and Ubuntu that are based on Ubuntu distributions. and lots of things that is being shared from Debian. Okay, and how to choose Linux distributions according to your usage. Okay, so if you're a manager and you need regular support, and you have to go on with Red Hat Linux Enterprise. And if you are a manager that but you don't need any support, then you can go on with CentOS. And you need a Red Hat on your PC or laptop or desktop, that time you can go on with Fedora. And when you need a graphical interface desktop to play games and movies and like that, then you can go for Linux Mint. And Debian and Ubuntu, mostly people use these tools as for server management and for servers and laptops and all these stuffs to communicate, to make us all connected together. Okay, then we have Kali Linux. That's what I'm using in here, Kali Linux. That's what we have for hackers. Pinpoint device for hackers. Comes with pre-built, inbuilt hacking tools. And we have other distributions also, OpenSUSE, Gentoo, and Arch Linux. Multiple Linuxes or distributions are there, and according to your usage, you can go on with a particular distributions of Linux. And you can download it from multiple sites like debian.org and kali.org, like that. And okay, now we slightly move on to the command session. What are the commands we're going to see, and what are the commands that helps in navigating through our Windows, navigating through in our Kali machines, and we will see that. First, I'll start with manual pages. What is this manual pages? You know, lots of tools and command line utilities comes up with your Kali Linux machine, right? And every tool have manual pages in it. So what is this manual pages? Manual pages helps you to identify what tool you're handling, what software, what application that you are handling. Okay, for example, you can have like this. So if I just type man nmap is a tool for people who know, definitely no issues. And this is a manual guide for nmap tool. Okay, so what that tool does, what's the arguments that you need to use, everything, complete help that you can say, in other words. Okay, so this is how you do manual checking up. It's like a TV box comes with manual, user manual, exactly the same thing, that we have all the commands that you need to perform, that you can perform with a particular tool. Okay, so you can just simply have to press Q to pick this, and this is how you can use manual. I'm going to perform the commands, the list of commands using a machine, Ubuntu machine. Okay, and it's very easy to navigate through Ubuntu machine. Like, we have good graphical interface and we have good stable one when we compare with Kali Linux. Okay, Kali Linux is especially for hacking interface, and when you want to navigate to multiple directories like you can do in servers, then Ubuntu and Debian distributions are more stable, like as I said. Alright, so what we're going to do, let's do this thing in here by performing a list of commands. So you can see this in here, you have this hash symbol. This hash symbol indicates that you are a root user. If you have a dollar symbol in here, then you are a normal user. Okay, so if you want to navigate, you just need to know where you are, and that means present working directory. For example, if you are in a Windows computer, you know that you are on a monitor, you are on a C drive, you are on a D drive, like that. Exactly the same thing, how you will come to know where you are by performing this command, present working directory pre-wd. This will give you are in the root directory. Root directory is like the heart directory in a Linux distribution that contains all the files in it. Okay, so this is how you do present working directory, and how you can navigate through multiple directories. How? With the help of cd command. Cd means change directory. How you can change directory? You can change directory, multiple directory, but you need to know what directories that root directory contains. For that, you need to list out the files. Okay, so I don't have any files in here, and I can create any files also, and I can create any folders. How I can create any folders? Make directory. So if I click like make directory sam and click ls, you can see a directory named sam is created. If I want to move into that directory, I'll simply go cd sam. Okay, now I'm in sam directory. You can see this, our location, our path is changed in here sam, and you can check it now with present working directory, that is a root sam. Okay, so this is how you do make directories in command line interface and This is, and you can remove your directories also. So how you can do, you have to go back one directory, right? Then only you can delete the directory. So how you can delete the directory? Directory is nothing but folders, right? So cd double dot. So this command will take one directory back from your absolute path. So you can see now present working directory, you are on root, and if I want to delete that, make directory and remove directory. I need to remove the directory, right? So rmdir sam. What will happen? Now list it out. There is no directory and it removed the sam directory successfully. So this is how you do navigate into multiple directories. And if you type simply cd, that will take you to your root directory. For example, let me create one directory and I have multiple directories. Make directory and I can give sam cd sam, make directory one else. You can see cd one, and you can see I'm in sam directory inside one directory inside sam directory. And if I want to go back to the root directory, I will simply press cd and I can go on like this, or if I simply leave it like this, it will take me to the root directory. Okay, so this hash symbol clearly indicates that you are root user, and present working directory will simply say that you are in this root directory. Okay, so you can give like this or you can give like this also. That will also take you to the root directory. Okay, the home directory. Skip button, exactly like we have the file hierarchy trees in Windows. Exactly the same thing that you can do with command line interface. And this next topic we have in here is absolute path and relative path. What is this? You need to know the root of the file tree. How would you can identify? For example, I'll just create one file in don't worry, I'll explain you what is this. Okay, so you can see this. I've created one file named as sam.txt in here. What is this? Now I've created a file, and how people will come to know the exact path of sam.txt file. So if I just go back in here like this, I'm in root directory, and what's the absolute path of this sam directory? If I need to access that file, if I need to go to that file, how I have to go on like this: cd root sam 1. This is the absolute path that you need to present to get into that directory with the help of this. Not like you can change directories one by one, you can change directory at a time. Okay, another functionality we have in here in Linux distribution is it will automatically fill the path by pressing the tab button. You know, sam.txt, the file is there inside, right? And now I'm in the directory 1 inside a directory sam, and I know there is a file called sam.txt, right? If I want to access that sam.txt file, I can easily access that file by pressing the tab key just with 2 letters. So if I press tab, it will automatically fill the letters. So for that I need to just give to cat and sam.txt. It will automatically fill that whole path exactly and enter. It will just, this cat command is used to print out the contents of the file in terminal itself. That's why we use cat, concatenate, the whole meaning. Okay, so it will just simply print out the contents of that file in here. Whatever be the file, it will print out in the terminal itself. Okay, so this is how we do use the automatic path completion by pressing the tab. Okay, the next command we have in here is ls. Like what I said, ls will list out all the files, right? sam.txt, and you can easily find out what these commands will explain. We have multiple commands. So for example, if I go with what is ls, so that will clearly tell you what that command will do. The command will list the directory contents. Okay, so this is how we do carry out various commands, and this is how you find out what a command can do in a Linux distribution. So what I'm going to do, I need to list out all the files. There may be hidden files, there may be files that is contains lots of information. Okay, you need to access everything, right? The data size, everything. How you can find out? If I just click ls-l, it'll give me exactly who have permission to access that file, and when it is created, and what's the file name, every information you have in here. Okay, I can go on like this, ls-l, all information. You can see it in this command will help you to display the hidden content also. So whenever you have a dot symbol in front of any files, that file is assumed as, that file is made as hidden in Linux distributions. Okay, so the same thing we have in here Unix also. When you have in your Android mobiles also, there will be multiple hidden files that you can access in your file explorer, that is present with dot in the very first. Okay, so we have the same thing in here with ls command, and you can find out your size also. So okay, so this way, so ls, okay, so you can see this one, the same command, you can check it out, the size of your directory. That also you can do with a machine. So this is what the size you have, bytes. Okay, so that's very simple. In what way you can make, in what way you can list out the list of files that is available in directory. Okay. Remove directories. If your directory contains some files, you can't delete it. How? Let me show you. Let me clear the screen first, and I'll show you ls cd double dot, there is a file sam.txt, right? So if I just want to remove rmdir and 1, it will show this directory is not empty, right? So at that time you can remove the directory in this way. So what I'm going to do now, let's remove the file. We have multiple directories in here, right? cd sam, and list out the file in here, and we have one more directory 1, and sam.txt is also in here, and I need to remove the whole sam directory. Okay, how can I remove this to whole directory? If I go with like rmdir, okay, if I just click 1, it will remove, because there is the drive is empty. And if I want to delete a file directory that is not empty, if I remove like this, it will clearly say directory is not empty. So that time what I need to do, I need to remove it recursively, forcefully. So what will happen at that time, this time it will remove the directory without any hesitation. Okay, so this is how you do remove directories which already contains files also. Okay, so you delete the normal delete option. Okay, and the next thing we have in here with files, how we can do play with files. What are the things that you can do with files? What is a file? What that kind of file is? Okay, how you can do this? Let me clear this, and let me create one file nano, and instead of creating a file, let me go on with directory, and I'll just go with top, and you can see multiple files are there, right? So how I can check it out, what file is that? So file command will clearly tell you what that file is. Okay, what kind of file it is. Okay, if I just go on with like this file receive is a directory. So this file command clearly gives you what kind of file you are having in here. Okay, that's very easy, right? And you can cat it out, what file you have and how you can cat it out. Cat will simply display the files in terminal itself. So I just go on with covered underscore tcp.c, and you can see this is the code that contains that covered tcp.c kind of file contains. Okay, so this is how we do use cat and file commands. And touch command is used to create an empty file. If I just go on like this, touch1.txt, it will create a file, the name touch1.txt. So, okay, so you can go on with nano editor, you can have multiple editors to create a simple file. Okay, so touch is one of them. And another command you have in here is copy. Okay, so what you can do, we have seen already remove, we have seen everything. Now I'm going to copy some files. Okay, how I can copy some files? I want to copy this covered underscore tcp.c, and I need to put it in my root directory. Okay, and that should be also in the same name. Okay, let's check which is in my root directory or not. See, it is in my root directory. Previously I was in home sam desktop, my working directory was, and now you can see it is my root directory. Okay. So this is how we do copy data from one folder to another folder, and every time you need to give the absolute path. Why? When you're copying, you are in a SAM desktop path and you need to copy to the directory which is in root. Okay, that time you need to give the absolute path, then only you can copy the files, otherwise you can't. Okay, and I can move also. I can go on with move command, and the move command will do its work, and it can also do work as a rename. Okay, so if I just want to move this covered underscore tcp.c, and I need to put it in this directory, root, not in root, home sam desktop. So I'm just pressing tab, which automatically completes the path, right? So that's why, and I'm renaming the file into 2.c. Okay, now I want to move on to that directory, cd home sam desktop. Now ls, you can see 2.c file is here. So this is how we do copy, move, and rename. I just rename the file cover.tcp to 2.c, and you can put in the same directory also for renaming. Okay, you just need to give 2.c in here, not the whole path. I just move the file in here and I put it there. I can go back to my root directory. Let me check that contains the file in here or not. See, there is no file that is like that. Okay, I can go on like this, cd. See, there is no such file in there in home directory, right? So that's where that's how you do copy, move, and rename your files. Okay, and you have interactive mode. What is this? rm -i. If I want to remove any files, let me get into my home directory, desktop, and you can see multiple files are there, right? If I want to remove any file, rm and -i, if I just give 1.txt, what will happen? It automatically remove that file without any prompt. I don't want like that. So that time what I can do, -i 1.txt. Now it will ask me remove that regular empty file or not. Okay, so I just give yes, and now that 1.txt file is removed completely. Okay. This is how we play with files and commands to navigate, to create, to delete, to move, and to rename the directories and files. And we have multiple files are there. How? Commands to visit, to check, to inspect the files. How? What are the commands to do that? We have a command called head. This head command will display the first 10 lines in a file. So if I just go on with head, we have seen already how much lines that covered underscore tcp file is having, and now check, it will display only the first 10 lines. Okay, if I go on with tail, the tail command will give me only the last 10 lines of the command. Okay, it will display only the last 10 lines of the command, 10 lines of the files of the file. Okay, now sorry for that, not command, 10 lines of the file. Apologies for that. And the same manner you can use cat, and you can have echo. What is this echo? Whatever you type with echo, it will automatically echo it into the terminal. So if I just type echo sam, it will echo it. So if I type echo cyber security, it will echo it out. So this is how we do use echo, and you can make use of echo to put anything in a particular file. How I can do, check it out, ls, and let me create one file in here. And how you can create files with Ubuntu, you have multiple text editors. You have nano, you have touch, you have vi, vim editor, multiple editors, text editors are there, right? So that's how we create files. So I'm just going to use touch in here, and I'm creating the same 1.txt file again. Okay, you can see 1.txt file is in here, and I need to add something to that file. How I can do? Echo Sam, put that thing in 1.txt file. Okay, and now I'll just cat that 1.txt file. Check it out, Sam is there. I've created an empty file, right? And then I've added Sam to that one. Okay, so this is how we create, this is how we play with Echo, and this is how you create file and how you add up some data into the file. You can add anything, you can add multiple lines of code or anything, multiple sentences or sensitive information directly without opening the file in GUI format. Okay, and you did this in cat. You can do this tag. What is this tag? It will play the lines in reverse manner. Okay, if I have multiple lines, it will display the lines in reverse manner. I have only one, so that's why it is returning like this. Okay, and you have commands like strings. Okay, so what this strings command will do, this strings command will display the strings that are available in any other file types, for example exe, image file, or anything. So if I just go on with covered underscore tcp.c, and you can see if there is any strings that will display any, we have strings in each lines, that's why it is displaying everything. And exe files and image files don't have any strings like that. If an attacker combines some payloads with an image or anything, that time you can easily find out with the strings command. Okay, so definitely those files will be having some strings in the middle, and you can easily find out with help of strings command. Okay, so this is how we do check for strings in other file types. Okay, and now let's move on to the directory types and what are the directories that are available, all these stuffs. Now just minimize this, and we're going to make use of this file manager. And how you can open this terminal, I forgot to tell you that that's very simple, and you just need to go right click and you can open terminal in here. That will open terminal in the desktop. Otherwise you can click this icon in here from your applications bar. Okay, so let me use this one, and you can see we have multiple directories. We have home directory, and we have this exactly the computer like these things we have in our Windows machine. Okay, so in this desktop you can have the all documents that you have saved in desktop, and documents, whatever the files that you download from your browser, that will go in here, and musics and pictures and videos and trash, exactly like recycle bin. And you have recent files that you have accessed recently, that will come up in here. And you can see this home directory holds every information that you store, which exactly looks like your My Documents folder, right, in your Windows machine. Exactly. So you have desktop, documents, download, all these things comes under this home directory only. Okay, so if I just open terminal in here, and you can check the present working directory, that is your home and the particular user. And let's get back to the root folder and inspect some sensitive directories what we have in Ubuntu machine. You can see this bin. So this bin folder is responsible for storing all the binary files. Okay, so this directory contains all the binary files that you need to use, commands like ls, all the commands that you are performing with command line utility, right? Those commands will be in here in this bin folder only. Okay, so netcat, ln, ls, ip, hostname, echo, cat, these commands we have seen, right? So all these commands will be there in your bin folder. And you have boot. This folder holds all the information that is essentially need to boot up your system. Okay, there will not be any change in this boot folder, and you can see multiple files, and you can see some configuration files. That is very, very important to start your grub bootloader. Whenever you are switching on, you'll be having a window to start your grub bootloader, right? So that's where we have in here. Okay, so you can see this grub.cfg file. this is your configuration for grub bootloader. Okay, so this file is responsible for your grub bootloader, and this is the folder that holds information of booting options, and you have CD-ROM and devices. Okay, so this folder is devices, and you have libraries, and you have home, like we have seen in this, right? So same thing, SAM. So everything comes in under this only. This whole stuff holds the home is lies in then your root. Okay, and you have libraries, library 64. What is this? Library files are being used by bin files. Okay, that is necessary. Library files that are necessary that to be present in there to successfully complete the works of binary files. Okay, and we have library 64, and if you are using a 32-bit system, there will be 32. Sometimes you can see some library 32 folders also. Why? For some case of dependency files, library 64, that is 64-bit operating systems, works with 32-bit file shared resources. Okay, and your medias. This media is responsible for mounting up of your floppy disk and your USB drives and all. And you have mounting options that you want to mount any drives or directories remotely or locally. That one. And your OPT options. What is this OPT? It is an orphan directory that source applications puts itself when we download. Okay, so when we download something, it will put the source, that the source application will put itself in it. Okay, other than your repository applications. That one. And you have process folder. This process folder contains all the processes, okay, that needs to be running. And you have etc folder, an important folder again in here, this etc. So what is this etc folder? This etc folder holds all the configuration files for your applications and daemons and protocols. Okay, so this is a very sensitive directory that contains lots of configuration files. Okay, so whenever you have to play with the configuration files, whenever you want to change something in your victim's machine, I'm talking of in a ethical hacker perspective, so that time you need to play with this etc folder. Okay, and you can see multiple files like initd, that is for starting up your daemon, and x11 for your GUI, and skeleton, and sysconfig for your system configuration. And sysconfig will be in here, I think so. Yeah, you can see this, right? X11. This X11 folder holds the configuration files for graphical interface. Okay, so that's why we have this etc folder in here to manage all the configuration files. And we have seen home already, and we have seen root, the whole stuff, and you can see this root directory, right? Okay, it needs authentication for sudo users only. If I'm not a sudo user, I can't access the root directory, like administrator password we have in Windows machine. Okay, and any other thing that I need to tell you, yeah, device. So this one, this folder, this device folder contains all the information that you can handle. You can see multiple TTY files, right? These files are nothing but your shell files, the terminal files. Okay, so whenever you are opening a terminal, so you have this TTY shell there, that bash scripting shell, that TTY shell is there for making your commands, to perform your commands in there. Okay, that's why we have this devices and the other directories too inside the device directory. Okay, and we have the next folder, that is PROC. What is this PROC? Is responsible for making conversation with the kernel level. It is actually a view of kernel, or in a better way you can say like where kernel can be managed with. Okay, so sometimes people can mount this directory with remotely. Attackers can mount this directory and they can play with this PROC file because it contains lots of communication level messages that you have with kernel, right? So that's why people can play with, attacker can play with this special directory. So we can't give any RCEs to any other attackers, right? And you have USR. What is this USR? This USR is unique shared resources. Okay, this is not user folder, that is unique shared resources. We have seen in our history that Linux has been derived, that with multiple Linux distributions have been come up from the Unix, the very basic with C language and all, right? So that's why we have lots of tools are being combined with all the Linux distributions with this unique shared resources. You can say this USR folder in each and every Linux distributions that share lots of tools along with it. You have bin folder, games folder, local, sbin, share, src, multiple folders are there, right? So what are these folders actually in? This bin folder is responsible for unique shared resources binary files, and you have games folder that is responsible to manage your gaming files, where it can put down all the gaming files that you install. And you have the library files in here, and you have sbin, okay, and you have src file, so location for kernel source files. This folder contains location for kernel source files, and you have log files, and you have cache files are yet to come in the from the directory called as var. Okay, so what this var folder contains, it contains cache, it contains crash reports, library files, local files, and log files, and opt, exactly the opt files. Okay, and you have spool, and you have temporary folders. This temporary folder contains the temporary files that it is not advised to store any backup data that you want to store. Okay, so that's why we don't prefer temporary folders for performing and quick view or quick files and folders that you can store it for shorter period of time. Okay, so that's why we use it. Okay, so next we have little bit of comments that will be very helpful for going on with ethical hacking. We have seen already lots of comments and the basic comments, and you have ps, and you have kill, top, all these things. What is these commands actually? This ps command will list out the active connections and the processes that is running on in your computer. You can see sudo, su, bash, and ps commands, and it is having PID. And if you want to kill any PID, and I can just go with kill, and you can perform your you can give up your PID. Okay, so that will clearly kill your PID very easily. So if I just give like this 2760, okay, so this is how you kill, and this is how we kill PIDs. We kill process with PIDs. Okay, and then you have BG, and you have FG, all this. So what this BG command will do, is there any background process which is going on, that will display in here, and FG will bring the process which is running in the background to your foreground. Okay, that's what we do in here with PG and FG. And another command you have in here is who am I. What this command will clearly give you who's the user, what permissions he has. So if I'm normal user, that will give me the normal user's name. Okay, root. And you can go on with uname. So this command will give me what the system info, Linux. Okay, but I want more information, uname -a. So this command will give me all the information that we need about my target machine. So definitely these commands will help you to post exploitation, how you can navigate in a victim's mission for an ethical hacker. Okay, so that's why we need to know the basic stuffs that we can do with Kali Linux. These stuffs are very basics. Who can start their very basic stuffs with Kali Linux, who wants to learn Kali Linux. This is the way, this is the starting point where they can start learning Kali Linux. Okay, and you have grep option that will grep out only the string that you are searching for. Okay, and you have compression methods. Okay, so for compression methods you have tar and you have gunzip. And how you can do, if I want to compress or anything, so just go on with the ls, and you can see multiple files, right? If I just want to compress anything, tar cf, that will compress the file, and the file name into one.tar, and I need to give the file one.txt. Okay, ls, you can see this is the compressed file that you have in here readily. And now we can extract this file and you can extract this file in this way: tar xf and I need this. I'll let you know why I'm using this -I. Okay, sorry for that. I don't need to use that now. ls, and you can see the file is extracted in here. This is the command for extraction. There is no 1.txt file. You can see the difference slightly, but there is already 1.txt file. No need to confuse with that. And you can go on with gunzip. So the same thing, 1.tar. You can go on like this. If you have any gunzip file, that time you can go on the same way. So that will do the same thing by extracting and compressing also with gunzip. Okay, next command you have in here, wget. So what is this wget? If you have any URLs or files that needs to be downloaded, you have the access to the URLs, you can go on with wget and you can put up your URL that will download the whole file to your machine. Wget. Okay, so, and you have ping. Finally, we are just stepping towards into the cybersecurity commands and all that you can learn on from our videos in scanning and enumeration. Lots of videos we have in the hacking sessions also. That will help you to go on after this step, after this Kali Linux basics. Okay, so when you go on with ping, and that command, ping command, will help you to check out your mission, target mission is reachable or not, is up or not. So that's where we use ping command. Okay, most importantly, one more thing I need to tell you. You can see this ls-lea. So what is these things actually? These things are your permissions. Okay, leave this first line. You just need to concentrate on this 9 lines. What is this? What we're going to do with these lines, and how you can find out what file is accessible to you. When you're doing the post exploitation process, this is very important stage. How you can exploit and how you can escalate your privilege to your root user. Okay, how and why? How we can calculate this? You can see this covered file is having reading, writing, executing functions, and this is also our executable functions, but the middle one is dash. Why? In our Kali Linux, we have 3 kind of users: root user. This 3 indicates the root user permissions. This 3 indicates the group users. This 3 indicates normal guest users. Okay, so if a file is having rwx, that means in the very first, that folder, the file contains all the permission is allowed with only for root user. And you can see group user is allowed to only read and execute, and exactly normal user also having the same permissions to read and execute, not the write permission. He can't change anything, they can't change anything. Okay, so this is how we finds out what are all the permissions that is allowed for a particular file. Okay, so the next thing we have in here, how we can find out and how we can change the file. Okay, so for example, I can give like change mode, and I can give like 777. What is this 777? You can see this 2.c don't have any permissions for guest user except only the read function, right? Your group user also having only the read permission, and group user and guest user have only the read permission, and root user have only read and write permission, not the executable permission also. So if I give 777, the whole permission of that file changed to everyone. Everyone have full access. How? Let's check. 2.c. Okay, and now I'm just typing ls-a. Can you see this? 2.c holds all the permissions for all the 3 users. Okay, so how it is made and what is this 777 meaning is? Each number indicates each user. 777 is for root. This 7 is for group user, and this 7 is for normal user. Okay, and what 7 indicates in here? You have read, write, execute, right? So one second, read permission carries 4, right? and write permission carries 2 and execute permission carries 1. So the total value, when you have given the total value 7, that means you are giving away all the permissions to a particular user. I can give like this also. I can give like 757. That means I'm giving 7 full permission to the root user, only 5. That means 4 and 1. So I can give read and executable file function to the group user, and 7 all permission to the guest user. Let's check it again. Okay, let me clear the screen. ls -al, and you can see it is given all the permissions, right? Let's check it out. If I give chmod change mode, this is the command to change permissions. So if I give like 757 to the file 2.c ls-al. Now check it out. You can see this file don't have, the group user don't have the right functions in here, right? So this is very easy when it comes to assign the permissions to the particular user. Okay, why? You are a root user, you should not give all the permissions to all the users. That is very vulnerable. An attacker can come in and he can easily escalate the privilege. So that's why it is very mandatory to be very safe with the file permission and allow all the files to run with the least permissions as a root user. Okay, so this is how we do work with Kali Linux. Very basic one, very basic one in fact, and you have lots of things to learn in Kali Linux, and you have lots of things to learn in Linux distributions. And if you want to pursue, if you want to make your career in Red Hat, Linux or Enterprise, you can go on with different certifications and you can learn that part and you can get into it. Okay, and I've given the very basic stuffs. I hope you can practice this at home, and don't forget to subscribe us, and don't forget to read and go through our videos regularly, and please hit the bell button, and thank you for watching.